Okay, it took me forever to get live now on my laptop. So I don't know what's going on with internet service right now, but it's pretty shitty. So I'll wait for people to find this one because this is crazy. And I really wanted to sit out by the pond because it is so nice out today, but I guess not. So while waiting, again, thing that I always have to, hello again, Laura. Who am I? Jax West. Not family, just a supporter. And the topic of today that I already discussed in the last one, but now deleted it and starting over because my service is so shitty and kept cutting in and out, is Carol Ann Fitzgerald. And what the bullying that's happening to Carol Ann Fitzgerald. So who is she? She is just a supporter who watched Making a Murderer and, like many, then looked into the case. She's a retired police officer in Australia. And in looking over some FOIA documents, the Freedom of Information Act is what FOIA stands for, she saw how the bones from the gravel pit were signed out by Wiegert and given to Karen Halbach in 2011. So is she the only person to have seen that? No. Other people saw it, but she's the one that brought it to Kathleen Zellner's attention. Kathleen didn't know about it because the documents that she had been given by the state did not include that log showing that the bones were given to the Halbachs in 2011. So, and that is what Kathleen, all her filings of late are about. So, and Kathleen gave Carol Ann Fitzgerald props for sending that to her. And there are YouTube people who are attacking her for it. She even went on one of their crappy YouTube lives and discussed it. And now today, they made one trashing her. And they're all over YouTube and wherever, they go and hide and talking shit about this woman. And it's just pure jealousy because everybody wants Kathleen to like them best. And then they want to put that crap on their, they're clickbait. They'll make these YouTube videos with these titles to, try and get people in there because they're making money off of them. And the ones that say they're not making money are lying. Because, they're if they're saying they're not making money on it, it's because they're not making it yet. They have to have 1,000 subscribers before they can start making the money. So that's why they're always, click to subscribe. Don't forget to click to subscribe because that's cha-ching money for them. As opposed to, I do these videos and I don't make a freaking dime. Yet I'm the one that those people are constantly telling Stephen that I steal money. Those people also told Stephen that I record our phone conversations. And those are the very same people that now today or yesterday have uploaded a phone call with Stephen, which Kathleen Zellner doesn't approve of, doesn't like at all. But these are people who like to talk shit about Kathleen. So what do they care that them doing this audio of a phone call of Stephen could hurt his case? They don't care. anything that's going to get them that YouTube subscriber so they could make some more money off their ads, or get them that other subscriber so they can get to those 1,000 subscribers so they can start making the money on ads. So now they're picking on Carol Ann Fitzgerald. They've been doing it for a while, and I get it. There's posts that she makes. I don't agree with everything she says, but we don't have to agree with everybody's theories, or we don't have to like people who are supporters. Lord knows there's a ton of freaking people that I don't like. You may be one of them. But to constantly attack this chick and then make these videos for you to make money off of, to attack this chick who is somebody who Stephen could possibly be freed by what she did. Stephen's not going free from your dumb YouTube videos. He's going to go free because Carol Ann Fitzgerald pointed out to Kathleen Zellner that those bones in 2011, bones that Sweaty Sweat claimed were not even human. That's not. I'm not going to spend 5 minutes talking about those gravel pit bones. That's not Teresa. But then why did you give those bones to Teresa? Why was the defense told for years that if testing became available, you could test these bones? But you gave them away 8 years ago to the victim's family, or should I say alleged victim. But why are you going to give that family Teresa? So, I don't know. Are you giving them evidence you found at Stephen's house? I mean, because we already know you brought evidence from Teresa's house to Stephen's, like her chapstick, magic bullet. So you have to give credit where credit is due. And it was Carol Ann Fitzgerald who brought it to Kathleen Zellner's attention. Period. End of story. There's nothing to debate there. But they just want to bring this woman down because and claim we found it first. Oh my God. So, such children. I'm rubber, you're glue. Let me scroll in your comments here before I get way off track here. Kristen says, I really love that shirt you wore to go visit Melissa. That shirt I made 3 years ago when I went to see Strang and Buting in Milwaukee. So it was the first time that Strang and Buting did a public outing or, a public event. So I made that shirt to wear to that. So that's what that's from. Julie says, I heard that phone call. I wanted to say something to them, but I held back. What to say about that phone call? All I will say is Kathleen Zellner does not approve of it. But they did it anyway. Claire says, oh my God, why would they do that? Can KZ put a gag out on them? Kathleen's got bigger fish to fry. I'm sure she really doesn't care about all this drama bullshit. It's just never ending. But those are the ones that are going to constantly claim that, they're the biggest supporters. They're not supporters. They're fans. There's the difference. You know, they don't truly care what happens to Steven. They only care if it brings them another subscriber so they can make money. That's all. Kitty says, you don't have to viciously attack someone who is only trying to help is wrong. Yeah. Ian says, hi, out of interest, what is your theory on what happened to Teresa? My theory. My theory is now how should I go about this? All right, I'll tell you what my theory was, and then what I think. I've had many theories. So don't get me wrong, you know, yeah, I've been in many different directions. So I have was that the killer is Bobby Dassey, and he got the way he got Teresa was by asking her to do a hustle shot. So, but speculate on what he did to her, because in my opinion, there's no evidence of anything. In my opinion, there's no evidence that she's even dead. But I'm not somebody who thinks she's alive. I'm just saying I've never seen anything that's concrete showing that she's dead, other than she's never been seen again, allegedly. I guess you need to keep doing that, allegedly. So at one point too, I thought there was a chance that maybe Bobby killed her on accident. You know, that she had stopped, you know, she's a photographer. And I know somewhere at some point I had read something of somebody saying that they had seen Teresa on the side of the road taking a picture of a cow, which some people might go, she lives in Wisconsin and she lived on a farm. Who cares about a cow? But I go walking at the Arboretum in my town as often as I can, and I'll take pictures of the same chipmunk, or not the same, but a chipmunk over and over again, because it's like, oh my God, a chipmunk, I'm going to take a picture of it. So same thing. And I'm not a professional photographer, not even claiming to be, but just from my just liking to take pictures of nature when I'm out, she's a photographer where you just see something from your eye and it's like, oh, I want to take a picture of that. So I thought that could have been something at some point, that Bobby was out hunting and killed her accidentally, and then he and Scott covered it up. But where I'm at now is, I have been even prior to Kathleen doing the reenactment video, is that got her by trying to get her to do a hustle shot, which how I got onto that theory too is because I debunked that there's no way that the bus driver could have seen Teresa Halbach at the red Caravan or whatever van that was that Barbara was selling that was down in front of her house. Yeah, I've got a video of that. Oh my God, a video, and we don't make money on it. But actually one of those people stole my video and uploaded it on their YouTube to make money off of it. Just saying. But anyway, but I had been told that, you know, it's a junkyard and they sell cars. You know, Teresa had been there how many times? So a lot of times when they were selling something that they were having Teresa come take a picture of, it was parked down by the office. Now, down by the office, the bus driver absolutely could have seen Teresa taking a picture down there. So I had thought that Bobby got her down there to take a picture of his Blazer, and whatever happened from there happened from there. I don't know how he killed her, what he did to her. But there is that Sikaki letter that went to the Green Bay post office that I do think, since a lot of the people up there are illiterate, that was how somebody was writing the word skinny, which is Scott Toddick's nickname. Or does he still work at the aluminum foundry that has a smelter? So that dispose of her. So, all right, let me scroll to your stuff. Kristen wants that shirt. I'm always so, I talk to you guys about that all the time with my boyfriend owning a print shop, that I made Brendan shirts, I made Rally shirts, and then they accused me of stealing the money from it. So it's, I really don't want to do it, because I'm just always going to be accused of stealing, that I'm taking the money. I don't know. Maybe I should do some special order stuff. You just contact Jeff at his print shop and order your shirt. I don't know, because I know people want to support Stephen by wearing a shirt, but you also don't want your money going into somebody's pocket. Julie says, it was a very short message. She said something to the effect, "Thank you everyone for your support. I really appreciate it." And when I went and visited Stephen, we talked about all that stuff. And, and I told him I would, he knows what I think about all those people and what they're doing. And, I had told him that I'll just stay out of it for right now. But now, after what happened to Carol Ann Fitzgerald today, I'm pissed. So that's why I'm here. But I'm also not saying everything that I would want to say, because I'm still trying to censor, I guess. Anne says, this is all babyish stuff, really. It always is. That's what drama is. Drama, and it's something I've said to, I work with a lot of students on different activism things. And so I've just told them, hate to break it to you, no matter how old you are, it's always junior high. It never goes away. I'm 40, and no matter what I'm involved in, there's some junior high bullshit involved in everything. And no matter how you try to ignore it and carry on, it's always there. So it's so stupid. Maz is asking, what have I missed, please? Hopefully you've gotten updated on that already. Michelle says, what are they saying exactly about Carol on these YouTube vids? I don't even know, Michelle, because I won't watch them. Because again, if you watch, every time somebody watches their video, they make money on it. And I'm not giving them any money. So, I just know people have relayed to me that there was a video, and it might not have been, so viciously on Carol Ann, because people don't say things as mean as I do, so they do it more kind of passive aggressive, like, so that think they're not saying something that bad when they really are. I'm just more to the point, I guess. Julie says, I was reading on Twitter, and there are dispatch calls that Teresa was seen at Walmart and at Taco Bell in Green Bay around November 7th, I think. Yeah, there's been there were a lot of reports seeing her, but we don't know how accurate that is. Kristen says, but bionic eyes if she saw Teresa. There's no way. And yeah, that that video I did, I'm standing where the van was, and I'm wearing a bright orange shirt. And I was even carrying a camera because I was taking pictures of Barb's trailer and Steven's trailer and all that stuff too while I was there. And so my boyfriend was down at the bus stop. And so first it is zoomed in so you see me, and then he zooms out on how you would see it with just your eyes, and you can't tell what color my shirt is, nothing. So there's no possible way. That bus driver. And if any of you watching are from the Manitowoc area and you know that bus driver, Lisa something, you know, I would love to talk to her, because I am not saying that the bus driver is doing anything malicious at all, because she even stated when she testified she's not sure what day it was, you know, those, you know, so I would you know, it's like, why hasn't anybody asked her where were you and where was Teresa? Nobody's asked her that. It's killing me. Somebody do that, and then I'll take credit for it, and then I'll complain about you that I'm the one that first said that, even though then you talked to the bus driver. Debbie says, and all the sick shit on Bobby's PC. Right. You know, and it's something that drives me crazy about the other Facebook groups, that they do not allow you to discuss Bobby. Steven wants Bobby discussed. Steven says Bobby did it, because that's what all the evidence is pointing to. And that was Bobby's computer. I know certain family members try to say, well, Steven could have gone over there and done it. That is, and when, because just like I rant to you guys when I'm on video, I do the same. I do the same thing everywhere. So like when I'm talking to Steven, I go on these rants. And so I say to him on how much that pisses me off when somebody will say that, oh, Steven could have gone into Barb's trailer and done that. Why would he? Why would he? Because he had his own computer. He had his own internet. His live-in girlfriend, Jody, was in jail. So he has his place all to himself. So if you're going to look up naked women and naked babies and killing women and all that, you would do it at your own place. You wouldn't go somewhere else where Bobby works the night shift, so you know he's there, whether or not he's sleeping or whatever. It's like, oh, yeah, let me look at this sick shit where somebody else is here. No, you do it at your own house. And you know, they wanted to find porn at Steven's, and they never did. The only stuff they found one tape, and they found some pictures. What was the tape? It was Steven fucking Jody. And the pictures were Jody. You know? So, he had nothing else. You know, he had his own personal thing, which is his business. You know, his girlfriend's in jail and not home, and she did these pictures for him while she's not there. Doesn't mean he's killing some random broad. You know, and that was on that computer. Bobby was the one that looked all that up. The cops know that stuff's on Bobby's computer, but they needed Bobby to be a star witness. They said, we'll look the other way on this stuff, as long as you say you saw Steven with Teresa and you saw Teresa walking to Steven's house, which Barb has refuted, because she says she's talked to Bobby and Bobby said no. So which story is it? I can't keep up with all the lies. Pam says, can't remember who sent it, but there was a letter sent saying they saw Teresa in a mental hospital. And hi, Cherry. Maz says, what was said about Carol Ann? Hopefully, Maz, you got that. Oh, my God. Heidi. Laura says, England pissed means drunk. Yeah. Melissa says, so what happened to Carol Ann? Attacked for staking her claim on the evidence she sent to Kathleen, for best that I can tell. Yeah, she did Carol Ann has met with some of the YouTube people and has done their video. Heidi says, I've seen stuff on Twitter about her not nice. Yeah, I was sent something on it. Yeah, I don't like it at all. And let me put this out there for y'all. I am not friends with Carolyn Fitzgerald. I have nothing to do with her. And I'm not saying that in a negative way. But this isn't me doing I have to defend my friend. You know, I'm not trying to sound like an asshole. She's nothing to me. But this is just all stupid, and it's just pissing me off. And that's why when I started Gossip, however long ago it was a place for me to just spew what was pissing me off. So, as in drunk. Melissa says, we'll always say mean things when they disagree. That's the nature of social media. I got to have thick skin. Exactly. You know, it's the whole keyboard warrior thing. It's something that Carol Ann was saying today is, you know, she knows the stuff those people are saying about her. They'd never say it to her face, you know, and that's the way it always is. You know, there was, who she's one of the people that she would tweet about me incessantly. She's the one that contacted the Illinois Attorney General's office. She contacted my local police department, all this stuff of reporting me, saying I stole money. She's just a crazy nut job. And when I went to one of Brendan's hearings in Chicago, and I went with Paul Kaluzinski, so Paul can even attest to this if people don't believe me. So Paul and we were running late because Paul kept giving me shortcuts, because I picked up Paul and and he was giving me shortcuts, and they ended up being long cuts. And so we got there pretty late. So we still got there before it started, but we got there late. So we get in the elevator, and the only other two people on the elevator are two of my biggest haters. The girl that's report me. And so it's only the four of us on the elevator, but she does the hijacks. And so I just looked at her and went, fuck off. And so then she said, I'll pray for you. I'm not doing now we're face to face and we're gonna exchange pleasantries. No, we're not. But she's praying for me. Johnny Walker says, from what I saw on Twitter, people were upset because Carol Ann posted unrelated PMs with someone showing their real name. For what I understood from Carol Ann, the issue was credit for sending the info of the long time ago. Okay, yeah. For that issue, yeah, the idiot, and I banned them from Gossip today, because then they ran over here. They're saying, oh, she's doxing them. She's not doxing. Do people know what doxing means? So yes, she did post screenshots of her message with Carrie Mendel, or however you say her name. Posting a screenshot of your message with somebody is not doxing them. You're not giving their phone number, their social security number, anything. You're posting the conversation you had with somebody. So I'm sorry for all the swears. Well, I'm not even really pissed, because I know now people are going to say, don't let it get to me. And it's really not. I'm just animated when I talk about this stuff. But fuck off with that doxing bullshit. That's why I ended up banning the guy, that he kept doing that. Ooh, doxing. It's not doxing. You know how many screenshots I've posted when people me shit? That's not doxing. You're not saying anything untrue, because that's the next. I do the slander and defamation. It's not. What you're saying has to be untrue to be slander or defamation. So she posted a screenshot for the stupid shit that chick was saying to her. That's not doxing. She has every right to do it. Unrelated PMs. No, they were related to what she was discussing about in gossip. That is a page for gossiping. She even started out by saying, since this is a gossip page, and she also says, because now remember, in gossip, we don't allow any threads to be posted without our approval first. And so she even puts in there, and she's done it before, if not okay, please delete this. And we approved it because it's a gossip page. She can talk about that here. She can post a screenshot of the message because it's proving what her count is of what this girl was saying to her. And then what they're now saying about her publicly. So that's what she was showing. Idiots come for her. So Heidi says, Carol Ann blocked me and I don't know why. Can someone please ask her to unblock me or tell me why? I miss her info. She is, from what I hear, she's deactivated from Facebook for right now. So everybody's blocked. I guess this stuff really got to her today. Raquel says, they said Bobby had scratches on his lower back and hands when they interviewed him and was never looked into. He said it was from his dog. Right. He said that because he had a puppy, that he had a puppy and he was sitting down, bending over, tying his shoes, and the puppy was jumping up on his back, and that's what scratched his back. I don't believe he's the one that had scratches on his hands. That's Ryan Hilgas, I think. I don't recall Bobby having scratches on his hands, but Kathleen has already had experts say that the scratches on his back are too wide to be puppy's nails. That's from a person. Kristen says that's a load of horseshit. Those weren't Steven's photos. Those were Bobby's. Even the times on the search history proves as much. Correct. It was clearly Bobby's computer. Even in the police's their photos or videos of Barb's trailer, you see the computer in Bobby's bedroom. Kat said Bobby did it. He had help covering up, but he did it. Yep. Melissa says Barb is a sad soul. I go back and forth on, do you feel sorry for Barb or should you be angry with Barb? Is Barb really part of why Brendan is in prison? Heidi says, I'm breaking in and out. Oh, I hope it's okay. Ellison says, why am I hearing Steven might get out soon? I hope this is true. Bobby is a sick MF, I tell ya. People say that all the time, that Steven's getting out soon. No, he's not. We're still waiting to hear from the court. Everything's a long process. There's always, oh my God, will there be a thing that a judge will say enough is enough? He's innocent, let him go. I'm not going to say there's not the chance for that, but no. And I know that was something that I think Chuck has said most recently, and so don't listen to that stuff. Only get your information from Kathleen. So unless you see a tweet from Kathleen saying Steven's getting out soon, don't listen to it. Leslie says, love your straight up attitude. Some love it, some did, but I'm good with it. Rob says I'm going in and out too. Rob and Ashley. Because, yeah, according to mine on here, everything's good. So I'm not getting anything bad on my end. So sorry if it's sucky for some people. Lori says, love you, sweetheart. Keep doing what you're doing. We all appreciate it. Well, and you guys keep on doing what you're doing. We have to keep attention on this case and all the cases. You know, I know the Stevens case is what brought us all here, but we can't only, and I don't post the stuff as much on Stephen Avery Project because people get pissed off when I post on other cases there, and they'll be like, what does this have to do with Stephen? And I'm so angry about that, because I'm like, what does that say about you that you don't want to hear about Melissa Kaluzinski? Melissa Kaluzinski's case is a cross between Stephen and Brendan on what was done to her. And so you're really that shallow that you only want to hear about Stephen's case? So for now, I keep Stephen Avery Project really only Stephen's case. Sometimes I slide in some, because Melissa Kaluzinski is like my heart. Such a sweet girl. And it's so sad what's happened to her. And so sometimes I'll slide in stuff about her case there. But then that's also what MAM gossip is, why I expanded it. So we can talk about Melissa Kaluzinski and any other case we want to, because there's so many. Heidi says, hey, I fractured my ankle 5 weeks ago. And didn't know if you want something to chuckle about. Yikes. That's not something to chuckle about. Ouch. Anne says, brilliant. I wish I had your guts. Well, I guess, would you call this a keyboard warrior? I mean, I'm not typing right now. That's, I used to type stuff all the time and write articles, but it's my laziness now that has me do these videos. Debbie, fuck off. I'll pray for you. Priceless. Lisa, thanks for all you do. Hugs from North Carolina. Thank you, Lisa. Heidi says, bah, just fuck off, you stupid wankers. Love you, Jax. Natasha says, involved. He's sketchy as fuck and also had her planner. All right. So when somebody asked me my theory before, I believe that Ryan Hilgas and Scott Blodorn and Michael Halbach are all part of getting that RAV4 planted at the Avery Salvage. Defend them on that with saying that I believe they and a lot of law enforcement thought they were framing a guilty man. That they really believed, due to Stephen's case, wrongful conviction case, due to its case, that the law enforcement that were involved in the Bernstein wrongful conviction depositions convinced everybody that Stephen would never be found because of that. So they had to make sure that they had concrete evidence. So that's what I believe. And I'm okay with that, because I think if it was my family member, and again, sure, I'm somebody of white privilege, which white privilege does not mean you're rich. It means you have privileges that people of other races do not, simply because of the color of your skin. We're not going to get into a whole battle on that. But due to my white privilege, I believed in law enforcement. I believed in the judicial system. If you were convicted, you were guilty. That's the way I thought. It wasn't until watching Making a Murderer that really made me question all of that. So I don't blame them back at the time, but I do blame them now, because there's plenty out there to show you that, if nothing else, there's doubt. And so if you planted stuff, then there's more to prove Stephen's innocence. So so that's where I guess part ways with the boys, in their part in all of this, in my opinion. Pam says, Carol Ann's way to say fuck off, we should pray for her. Melissa says, yes, Barb is absolutely part of why Brendan, her son, is in prison. It's truly unfathomable how she has treated her son for her husband. Well, she did that with almost all her boys. Her boys Scott kicked her kids out. They didn't like it. He got into physical confrontation with boys, not Bobby. Wonder why Scott's always had a bond with Bobby. Things that make you go, Kristen says, haha, not in Wisconsin. Manitowoc won't let Stephen walk. Okay, Christy letting me know it's not breaking up on her end. Tori says, will there be a Making a Murderer 3? There's nothing concrete on that, but Making a Murderer 2 did well. So I'm sure there will, and there's so much more to the story. So I'm sure there'll be a part 3, but we don't know when it will be. We don't know what it's gonna cover for sure. When they're gonna start filming it, or have they been filming anything? We don't know. Julie has the audio doing Little Misses. Lynn says, Carol Ann goes on YouTube with Eric O's. Is it her? He requested persons to be nice. That guy's a douchebag. I'm sorry. I know that guy. I know him from way back, and he's a weasel douchebag. So you all do what you want. But again, that kid is making money hand over fist for people watching his stupid videos. So just saying. Okay, Anne's getting some screwed up audio too. Heidi says, I think Scott has intimidated Barb. If you notice during their interviews on Making a Murderer 2, her arms are crossed and she's leaning away from him. Crossing your arms is a universal subconscious way of protecting yourself. All right. So, I'm just saying from the moderators, one of the douchebag YouTube people is trying to get into gossip, but they figured out who he was, so he won't be in here. All right, so back to my history. I used to be friends with Barb. And so I once did a Facebook Live at Barb's house that I moderated it. And so it was Barb, Scott, and Pete Dassey, Brendan's dad. So I have had interaction with Barb and Scott privately. And so what I can tell you from what I witnessed is not scared of Scott at all. But he will do things like he knows how long it should take her to drive from work to home. And if she's not home in that time, he's like, where were you? All suspicious on everything. And then there's things like as soon as dinner is over, he wants her washing the dishes. You know, he doesn't want clutter you know. And so I think Barb appeases some of his bullshit because you just don't want to deal with it because he has temper tantrums. But I don't think she's afraid or intimidated by him at all. But I have thought that, all right, so they got married when all this stuff was going on. So, of course, now they can't testify against each other, or they can't be made to testify against each other or say anything. But I've always thought that Barb doesn't know what happened, but she knows something. But she's trying to just, la, 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 I don't know. She doesn't want to know it. And so I do think what Scott has over her is that again, my theory, these are my thoughts. And before, because I know there'll be spies in here and they'll be talking about it. So I know I'm not original in this, and I'm sure other people think the same thing, and I'm not trying to take credit for your thoughts. I think that Scott did not murder Teresa, but he's part of after the fact stuff, helping Bobby. And so that he knows where the body is buried. And so that he holds that against Barb. That, if he'll out Bobby on what he knows. And I do know there was one time I was on a phone call with Barb. You would talk to Barb on the phone. She always has to put it on speakerphone, and Scott always has to be there listening to the call. And so when they go, because November is their big hunting month. And so she's in her deer stand and he's at his, so they're nowhere near each other. So opportunity to sneak a call. And in that call, she said that she wanted to leave Scott and that she'd already talked to one of her sons. And I don't know which one. She didn't say, and either she didn't say and I didn't ask, or I don't recall who she said, but that she'd go live with him. So, but that's what I think. I think she knows Scott would bust open whatever Bobby did. And so she's stuck with him for that. But I don't think she's physically afraid of him. And then something I'll say about the crossing your arms thing, and I know that's something that people say, and I do it a lot. But the reason I do it is I have degenerative disc disease. So I have a really screwed up back. And so when I'm standing and stuff, crossing my arms takes that pressure off on, like my spine, because my spine is getting compressed or whatever. And when I do that, it stretches it out. And so I sit with, stand with my arms crossed all the time. And so I've thought of that going, oh, people probably think I'm mad or something, though the way that I'm standing like that. But it's really just because my back hurts and it makes my back feel better. Melissa says, I feel so badly for Melissa Kaluzinski. I pray she gets out so badly. Melissa. So I visited Melissa on Wednesday, and and I posted the picture of my visit with Melissa. She's always such a sweetheart. They have their Facebook page, the official Justice for Kaluzinski family page. Her Aunt Helen keeps, anytime there's anything on that case, Helen gets it posted there immediately. So you can follow the stuff there. Also, if you go to Kathleen Zellner's website, she's got a whole page on Melissa's case there where she's got the links on there to the 2 different 48 hours episodes on Melissa's case. She also has the video for the last time she was in court last year on Melissa's case. That entire video is there. So if you don't know about Melissa's case and want to, go look there. But Melissa is the thing, and there is no possible way that she did what she is accused of doing. It's like when you're talking to someone on the phone and they're getting another call, like it goes mute for 1-2 seconds. That sucks. Sorry, guys. Crystal says, has the Innocence Project been involved with Stephen's case or Brendan's? Well, the Innocence Project is who actually freed Stephen in the Penny Bernstein case. But then as soon as Stephen was arrested in Teresa Halbach, they cut all ties with him, which I know the Innocence a lot of good things, so I don't want to just rip on their organization, but that pisses me off. Because you should know better than to just jump to that conclusion with Stephen that, he did this one. So the Innocence Project has nothing to do with Stephen's case. Stephen has Kathleen Zellner, so he doesn't need the Innocence Project. And Brendan has Stephen Drizin and Laura Nyrider, not the Innocence Project. And hi, Cindy. Oh, Jeff, the boyfriend, joined at some point. So Jeff Tarrant, that is on here now. He's the one you talk to for your printing needs. Heidi, doubt, there is more than doubt, plain and simple. Yeah. Pam says, have you seen the clip from Convicting a Murderer? The interview with Sweaty, he is losing his shit. No, I haven't looked at any of that. And, I don't even want it discussed. I used to not even allow any Convicting a Murderer posts to be in gossip because it's like, I don't want to give them any attention whatsoever. But now it's like, all right, go ahead and post about it in here. So, because I know the people here are just going to rip it apart, so I haven't watched it. Heidi says, actually, only is during their marriage. Any convos before then are fair game. Just learn that in criminal law. That's interesting to know, Heidi. Thank you for that. And hello, Haley Rose. Melissa says, Jax, if she stays with him and gets up and does the dishes and answers him so he won't have tantrums, I believe she is afraid of him. I can see that. She truly appears afraid of him, yet I do not feel sorry for her. She is part of the toxic relationships. I agree. Melissa says, I also believe he is abusive toward her. Well, he has such horrible tantrums. But you all heard it for yourselves on that, the call to Stephen. Natasha says, I have a hard time feeling bad for Barb. In the documentary, they said she consented to Brendan being interviewed, and I just can't wrap my head around why. I'd never consent to that. Well, Barb was busted for a considerable amount of pot. Was not Barb's pot, it was Scott's pot. But that then went away around at that time. So tit for tat. It was, we need you to do this, and if you do this, we won't do that to you. So Bobby's computer, poof, gone. Barb's pot arrest, poof, gone. Scott Toddock's, he had to repay unemployment, $1,000. Oh, it got paid. They claim bankruptcy. Oh, but they buy a house. So a lot of things that make you go, Melissa says she wants to leave him, further solidifies my suspicions. She knows much more than she will admit, Barb. Yeah, I believe she loves her boys. I really do. And before to going, okay, well, did she just think that they're going after Bobby, or they could go after Bobby, and Brendan is 16 and low IQ, and that somebody convinced her that Brendan would just have to do 2 years in a juvenile detention center, so that Brendan was sacrificed. And says, I would love to see a team of cadaver dogs search that property, gravel pit, and the deer camp without MCSO running interference. Because I know that's something that my boyfriend Jeff, when we were watching part 2, right? It was MAM 2 that they cadaver dogs and stuff and showing them where they went. And he like literally threw his hands up in the air because he's like, that's like everything. The dogs aren't going to lie, you know? But I never thought about that too, of having them do it independently. That's an excellent point, Kristen. Heidi says, same here with having fibromyalgia. I cross my arms a lot also because of pain in shoulders and upper back. Ah, see? Jamie says, Kristen, me too. I've been saying that for months. Scott also has a record of physical violence towards women, right, including his own mother. And that's something else that, you know, when I talk about why isn't somebody talking to the bus driver, why isn't anybody talking to Scott's mom? You know, or why didn't they back then? Did he come and visit you during the day in the hospital? You know, because I know Scott's brother, Sean, says no, he didn't. So what does the mom say? Why didn't anybody talk to his mom? Natasha says, well, maybe y'all should move to Canada where weed is legal. Ha ha. It's becoming more and more legal here. Then there's people saying Southern Illinois here, we are almost there to legalizing it. Yeah, our governor, J.B. Pritzker, who I worked hard to get him elected, that is one of his priorities. He wants marijuana to be legal, and then he wants everybody who is in prison for marijuana charges to be released. So, and I'm not a pothead. I don't smoke pot. I'm a all about choice person. I know it has a lot of, it does a lot of good for people for different reasons. So I'm not against it. So yeah, yay, gonna go legal. Heidi says, that interview pissed me off to no end about what Sweaty said about the coroner's only job is to kick the body and say it's dead. Oh yeah, I saw that post in here and gossip, people saying that. That coroner. Oh, I feel so bad for the coroner. You know, part 2, really, I did not know just everything that had been done to her. Ooh, we'd love to do a live with her that we also don't charge you for. So if anybody knows that coroner and she wants to do a live with Stephen Avery Project, let's go. Janice, I've missed everything. Can I watch this later? Yes, I'll leave it up. You know, no matter what I do in here, there's always people that are going to spy and pass it on. So it'll be here and they'll use it. And then they'll twist around my words and they'll report it back to Stephen, like they did recently, where they were saying to Stephen that I'm recording our phone conversations. I find it really funny that so Stephen got pissed because they told him I was recording when he calls me on the phone, which isn't true. And then they've recorded him and released it. And Kathleen is against that. She doesn't want Stephen recorded. But Those people don't care what Kathleen thinks because they also want to post shit about Kathleen. Lynn says, is Scott's mom still alive? I don't know. Kristen says, I posted that clip from Convicting a Murderer just by that Zia is smiling. Body language at its best. Wouldn't you love, now that would be a YouTube I would pay, or that I would go watch, and so people could make money off the ads for. I want to see Kathleen and Sweaty Sweat Sweat. Let's go. Round 1. That would be good. Kitty says, first question, and Sweaty Sweat Sweat loses his shit. It's hilarious. All right, you guys have convinced me. I will have to watch it. Let me see. Can I find it over here? I'm scrolling through. I'm scrolling through gossip on the other page, or on my other screen to try and find it. Where is it? Is it this? Nope. It's not that one. All right. Is it this where now I'm clicking and I'm going to Twitter? Oh. Why can't I get the sound? Come here, sound.
Questions about how he dealt the case, some of the stipulations that he put in, knowingly hiding evidence that could possibly help the defense in their case.
Loosely, might be called a debate, but I don't really see it like that. I see it as more of an opportunity to educate.
Nice to meet you.
Okay.
Andy, nice to meet you.
Pleasure.
I feel nervous, but I'm also excited because I think I can hopefully get some answers. On the 10th of November, did you know that it was human bones? So where was the coroner? The county coroner.
Give a shit where the coroner was. Coroner has nothing to do with the forensic anthropologist.
But it's all it's all related. Why?
It's all related. How is a coroner related to whether those are bones or not? You know what a coroner does? They walk in and they kick the body and they say he's dead. That's as far as their medical training goes. You're saying that you should bring in that person rather than a forensic anthropologist to tell me who that is? I don't blame him. I mean, if I believed that what was showed actually happened, I'd be pissed too. What is there about Bobby that makes him such a better suspect than the guy who's got all the evidence pointed at?
That's an answer that you should have answered in the investigation.
I did.
You didn't because you
I answered that investigation. I said, this is the guy who did it because all the evidence points to him.
I know that
Bobby doesn't have any of this evidence. Doesn't have any of the physical evidence. Doesn't have any of the motive because he lied when he was sleeping. He's just as likely the murderer as somebody whose blood is in the car. Are you smoking crack? That's crazy.
I would find out. You had tunnel vision. I know. I understand. You just said it.
I had tunnel vision.
Exactly. I
had the guy who committed the crime.
This is what you said. I have bones and blood here. I have possible stuff here. Let's go over here. You had tunnel vision.
Okay, props to that guy. Questioning Sweaty Sweat Sweat. Yeah, I'm kind of blown away by that right now. That's all a coroner does? Oh my God. Did you guys watch when I did the live with Paul Kaluzinski and Dr. Rudd called in? All right, so in Melissa Kaluzinski's case, Dr. Rudd is the one who changed the Ben Kingham's death certificate from murder to undetermined. I would love to talk to Dr. Rudd on what Sweaty Sweat Sweat just said about corners. And I've wanted to do a live with just Dr. Rudd, but I'm also involved now in this, it's called WMP Justice Review. And I've shared that stuff before on there. So there's a Facebook page for it and a website. I'm an admin on the WMP Justice Review. And so Justice Review is just starting, and there's a whole team of people there from, you know, doctors, lawyers, everything, that their goal is to be helping the wrongfully convicted. That's well, injustices in general, because they also do a lot of stuff with South Africa in the horrors that happen over there as well. So when I was talking with Tammy, who created Words Matter Publishing, that's what WMP is. So she publishes books, and then she's expanded it into WMP Justice Review. So Tammy discusses with me on what can we do to grow Justice Review. So I have suggested to her that, because I found Dr. Rudd very fascinating when we talked in the live with Paul Kaluzinski, that we should do that on Justice Review. So I won't be asking him to do it for Stephen Avery Project, you know, because I put it out there to Justice Review. But if we do it, I will absolutely bring that up to him about what Sweaty Sweat Sweat just said. And the main case that Justice Review has been working on for a long time is the Marnie Yang case. I also visited Marnie on Wednesday. She's in the same prison that Melissa Kaluzinski's in, and their cases are both from Lake County, Illinois. They both have been in for 10 years now. But Marnie's case her side of the story has never been told. So it's something that, you know, when I talk with Tammy about, when she's like, you know, we need to really, you know, get this case out there, what can we do? And I always tell her, going, until we're ready to release things from Marnie's side, there's nothing I can do. I cannot draw you people into Marnie Yang's case right now, because when you Google her name, everything out there shows she's guilty, which I'm sure is what you got in Stephen's case prior to making a murderer. You know, so I would hope that people will have a little bit more of an open mind and not just jump to guilt. You know, I've had people message me privately on it, and so I'll, you know, because they've heard me talk about it, and then they'll message me on it, and I'll say, okay, you tell me why you say she's guilty, and then I will tell you why she's not, on what disproves why you think she's guilty. So anyway, my long story to get into that, I'm actually going to a meeting tomorrow, because I'm like totally part of the Marnie Yang team, where there's a round table tomorrow with everybody that's affiliated in her defense, all the experts, everything. And we are getting together at her lawyer's office tomorrow, where now, because each expert is going to be showing what they have that's proving her innocence. So because we'll be doing a press conference, date undetermined at this point, and her lawyer is going to be filing in June. So we're gearing up for this filing right now. So I do not know the extent of the medical experts that are going to be there tomorrow. I was sent the itinerary today of everything that was going to be discussed and who is the one discussing it, but I'm not sure what everybody's titles are. But I'll also bring up to them tomorrow on what Sweaty Sweat says about corners, and I will fill you in on what their opinion of that is, because holy Jeebus. Tunnel vision, bro. Yeah. And my yeah, here. Let's play it again. Ooh, Mufasa, say it again.
I understand. I'm here to meet a truther, one of the people that support Stephen Avery and his cause.
Basically, I just want to ask him some questions about how he dealt with the case, some of the stipulations that he put in, knowingly hiding evidence that could possibly help the defense in their case.
Loosely, might be called a debate, but I don't really see it like that. I see it as more of an opportunity to educate.
Nice to meet you.
Okay.
Andy, nice to meet you. Pleasure. I feel nervous, but I'm also excited because I think I can hopefully get some answers. On the 10th of November, did you know that it was human bones already?
Yes.
So where was the coroner? The county coroner.
Give a shit where the coroner was. Coroner has nothing to do with the forensic anthropologist.
But it's all related. Why?
It's all related. How is a coroner related to whether those are bones or not? You know what a coroner does? They walk in and they kick the body and they say he's dead. That's as far as their medical training goes. You're saying that you should bring in that person rather than a forensic anthropologist to tell me who that is? I'm going to blame him. I mean, if I believed that what was showed actually happened, I'd be pissed too. What is there about Bobby that makes him such a better suspect than the guy who's got all the evidence pointed at?
That's an answer that you should have answered in the investigation.
I did.
You didn't because you
I answered that investigation. I said, this is the guy who did it because all the evidence points to him.
I know that.
Bobby doesn't
There's a
have
coyote
any of
across
this evidence. Doesn't have any of the physical evidence. Doesn't have any of the motive because he lied when he was sleeping. He's just as likely the murderer as somebody whose blood is in the car. Are you smoking crack? That's crazy.
I would find out. You had tunnel vision. I know. I understand. You just said it.
I had tunnel vision.
Exactly. I
had the guy who committed the crime.
This is what you said. I have bones and blood here. I have possible stuff here. Let's go over here. You had tunnel vision.
You're going to have to hold on while I'm doing this. Oh, the coyote's running away now. Sorry, was taking a picture of the coyote. Back to your comments. Heidi says, what is convicting a murderer on? This is something that was made a year ago or so, and they have not found some place to air it. So what this clip is on is there's a Twitter for it called Convicting a Murderer. It's, so the @ symbol, Convicting TV. So what makes Bobby, well, more guilty? Well, of course, Sweaty Sweat wouldn't see it like we all do since he's a raper. I'm not a raper. Yes, you are. You forced women to have sex with you that you were involved in either their case or their boyfriend or husband's case. Those women did not want to have sex with you, and you forced it. That means you're a raper. You can say they did it willingly because you didn't, have to snatch them off the street and tie them down. You're sick. You're a sick, perverted, sexual deviant. So of course he wouldn't see what's on Bobby's computer as anything bad. That doesn't mean you're a bad person because God knows what's on his computer. He's just got his daughter wife now, right? He surely isn't sexting with any of his other weirdos, because that's how he hooked up with his daughter wife. She was just a Gilter fan. Anne says, brilliant, isn't it? Kratz is so weak, and he's so cracking in that. He should really be worried about Zellner if a simple truther can get him in this tape. Yeah. Kitty says, isn't Sweaty Sweat Sweat supposed to be a recovering addict? Nice way to support fellow addicts, huh? Heidi says, I told you, Jax, it pissed me off so bad. Isn't a coroner's job higher up than what Sweaty's job once was? Wanna be Sweaty. Correct. That's the thing we learned from that coroner, is that's she could have arrested them. Where they had said if she showed up there, they'll arrest her. She could have arrested them. And a coroner is elected. The people put them in place to do their job. Heidi, the whole thing's not available because they cannot find anybody to put it out. So they just keep teasing it, trying to get somebody to buy it. Nobody's buying. People replying to each other. Kitty saying, yeah, we need what her experts' reports and case files to comb over and find discrepancies. Oh, in Marnie's case, yes. Well, there is a book that has been written that Words Matter Publishing is publishing, and it's written by her kids. Marnie's got 3 kids, and they went after her kids. Like, they, questioned all the Dassies and all of that. Is it still out there? Are you still? Oh yeah, it's still right there. Oh, the coyote's laying on the hill across the street. So it's driving my dog crazy. He's just laying there chilling in the sun. So cute. Sorry. So I don't, the book keeps getting pushed back, and the press conference gets pushed back because, of course, you don't want to put out stuff until the filing, because that filing's going to be the big drop, So, but we will have that to go over soon because the filing is happening in June. So you don't have too much longer to wait on that. I am going to be bringing a notebook with me tomorrow, or maybe I'll bring my iPad. And I'm going to be taking notes during the meeting. And it's actually supposed to go Friday and Saturday. So I will take notes, and then I will update you all on what I can. Mallory is just a little coyote. So, but yeah, we'll have all that to go over soon. Libby says, I love when you're live when I get home from work. It's like having a real life friend. Aw, you like me. You really like me. Natasha says, oh my God, the sound of his voice makes me cringe, doesn't it? He's so creepy and gross. Sorry, I just keep getting a kick out of the coyote across the street. Mindy says, imagine how many coroners he pissed off with that statement. Yeah. Wow. I should send that to Dr. Rudd because he emailed me stuff. Dr. Rudd and I have gone back and forth because he's actually got his own case, Dr. Rudd does, because Lake County was not happy with him, much like the coroner in Stephen's case. So they went after him when he was running for re-election. And So for those of you who are not political, when you want to run for office, you have to get petition signed by, depending on what you're running for, it's all a different number of how many signatures you need on that petition. And then there's all these rules on these petitions, like, you know, you can't, if there's 3 people running for that position, you can't sign all their petitions and blah, blah, blah. And you're supposed to be the one to get all your signatures, but that never happens. You always have other people who are canvassing the neighborhood, and I've done it myself. And actually, they put me to run pictures on your petitions, and each page of your petition has to be notarized, and you have to be present when each page is notarized. And then those pages have to be numbered a certain way, blah, blah, blah. And then there's all these games, you know, because politics is also junior high drama bullshit. So there will be people that will write fake names on a petition. They'll write fake addresses, because now what happens with that is your opponent will challenge your petition, you know, pages of your petition, and go, that's not a valid signature, that's not a valid address, blah, blah, blah. You know, so, and everybody does it, and I think it's a total douchebag thing. So, you know, say you need 123 signatures, then you're going to get 250, because you know your opponent is going to get some of those signatures thrown out. Now, since you're the one that is supposed to get those signatures, it's technically a crime if you're not the one to do it. And so they went after Dr. Rudd for his petition signatures. And so that's why he's not currently the Lake County coroner. So there's a petition, Didcock, if you've ever read any of Didcock's stuff, because James Didcock covers both Stephen's case and Melissa's case. And I believe he's the one that started a petition for Dr. Rudd. So Dr. Rudd wants the governor to pardon him. And due to my connection with our governor, because I did work his campaign for a year and a half or so. I was with him way early, you know, from like when not long after he announced. So prior to the primary and everything, JB was my guy. And I've done fundraisers for him and events and all that stuff. So Dr. Rudd emailed me information for me to send off to JB's people for him, since he's trying to get a pardon, because he cannot run for coroner again unless he gets that cleaned off his record. So maybe I should email him. Actually, he's not on any social media. So what I'll have to do then is see him or something and play it for him. But I would really love to see Dr. Rudd's response to that. Kitty says, that's why Buting tweeted, sweaty sweat is blowing smoke out his ass. There was no forensic anthropologist on the scene. Well, that's Eisenberg. Leslie Eisenberg is the forensic anthropologist on this case. And see, and you know, I say this stuff all the time to you guys that I have forgotten more. You know, I knew so much more stuff, and I forget it all. But wasn't Leslie Eisenberg also connected just like big hair Sherry Culhane with the Penny Bernstein case? Isn't there something? See, this is where we need Carol Ann Fitzgerald, because she probably knows that. Or if moderators Patty or Carrie are on, they would know it, because I believe they remember all this stuff. But there was funky stuff with Dr. Leslie Eisenberg too. So that's why that's also humorous on Sweaty Sweat Sweat, trying to say that Eisenberg should be the end all be all on Bones. Heidi says, wait, did he say I would call it loosely in reference to keeping evidence? Isn't that admission to Brady violation? Yeah, I don't know. Diana says, I had the guy that committed the crime, Sweaty Sweat Sweat. Let's see what he says when Stephen is exonerated. Yeah. Crystal says, I'm sorry, but who would willingly sleep with that? Oh my God, it's so gross. Maz says, are coyotes dangerous? No. I mean, they'll attack my little dogs. Man, it's still laying out there. I'm going to get to the end of your comments, and I'm going to end this and go out with my phone and try and live it from my personal. You know, I'll walk towards it until it runs away. Thank you, Heidi. Ann says, oh, I saw that. John Farrick had a link to the petition, so I signed it even though I'm miles away. It was pretty well explained in there what the problem was. Yeah. Shut up, Heidi. No, we better not be getting snow on Saturday. Where's my phone? What is my weather on Saturday? Saturday. Oh, only a high of 46, an 80% chance of rain, and a high of a low of 32. Yuck. That sucks. Anne says, not the petition for his politics, a petition to fix the problem, the one I signed. Yes. Kitty says, yeah, but they mailed her the bone. She wasn't on scene. And Christy, she was never on scene. They sent her boxes of debris. Kristen says, did the anthropologist, but the anthropologist wasn't on scene. Did they just mail? Okay, so everybody's got the same thing. Anne says she misidentified a body, I think. Oh my God. And Mindy says they're calling for snow in Minnesota. No snow here. No, thank you. So, all right. I'm down to the bottom of this, and I want to go outside and chase that coyote. I'm not going to chase it. I'm just going to walk by it. It's not there anymore. Oh, there it is. Tim's just a little guy. So summarize. Anne says she ID'd a body as a human fetus. It was a puppy. Then the real body of a pregnant woman who had gone missing was found with the fetus still in. That was it. Thank you, Anne. Yeah. So let's listen to her about bones and not a coroner. Ridiculous. So I'm going to go outside and look at this coyote. Summing it all up, the reason for the gossip today was I don't like people who want to constantly attack Carol Ann Fitzgerald just because you don't like her for whatever reason, and it's because of your jealousy because she did something that very well may free Stephen. You know, so why do people have to have credit? Why can't you just be happy that he's going to get free? I thought of it first. Nah. Who cares? All right. Going outside. And I won't be around, like I said, most of tomorrow because I'll be at that roundtable meeting for the Marnie Yang case. I will update you on it. No, it's really gone. I'm still going to walk over there. Missed the first part. What did she do? Well, you'll be able, I'm going to end this now and you'll be able to play it from the start, Crystal, because I'll keep it up there. But, all right, I'm going to go and see if I can go find the coyote. So talk to y'all soon.